Okay, here's our fun project for today. This is in our fabric book. This is on the back of our snippets page. We'll call it a snippets page. And I have made 12 of these little cards. 6 of them fit comfortably on this page. Background, lots of fun on the background. Plain cards that I embellished. And I hand stitched the embellished cards onto the page. It was easier to poke holes with the awl and then sew the cards on one by one. I have 6 more that I can embellish this page with. Oh, this was fun. Good morning. I have these yummy little playing cards and some underpants. I'm going to put underpants on each card, exposing the numbers. I'll do that with Mod Podge. Now I'm going to bring in the gesso, put a little bit of gesso on each card. And let those dry. I have gesso on all my cards. I've brought in some strong coffee and the lid to something something. I'm going to add some circles and drips to the cards. And let those dry. Bringing in a makeup sponge and distress ink, going around the edges of the cards. They're yummy delicious already. Now Timber Brown stazon ink, and hit the very edges of the cards. I'm actually taking the stazon and just rubbing it on the front a little bit. I'm bringing in my crocodile and I'm going to poke 2 holes in the top of each card. They will not be straight, of course, and I am okay with that. 2 holes each card. Alright, I have a pile of tea bags and ribbon and fabric. I'm going to dump everything in the coffee and stain it up. And let those goodies dry. I'm going to put holes in the bottom of these cards too. With my crocodile, just come in and pop some holes in the bottom of the cards. So it'll have 2 holes in the top and 2 holes in the bottom. I'm bringing in 3 colors, a yellow, an orange, and a green. These are watercolors. Paint the page with the 3 colors. Bring in a piece of paper. This is a scrap piece of paper and let that dry. I'm going to bring some more of that green in. Which has been mixed with a little bit of blue. Tap it down. Bring in the leftover yellow. Hit the edges. And let that page dry. Bring in some bubble wrap and some burnt sienna. Well-loved bubble wrap. Let that dry. I don't want to waste that yummy burnt sienna, so I'll put some on the bottom. Tap that down, get some nice dribbles, and let that dry. Bring in some white acrylic and my coffee cup. And let that dry. Bring in some black stazon and a rubber stamp to add some noise. Beautiful. Add some noise on your page. Bring in a sewing pattern and Mod Podge. I'm putting the Mod Podge on the sewing pattern because we have watercolor here, which will move around with the Mod Podge. Mod Podge on top of the sewing pattern. And we'll let that dry. After that's dry, rip off the extra sewing pattern. So I have lots of goodies on my work table. These are left over from the snippets page, which is delicious. And I am going to take things to my sewing machine and sew some fabric on and some ephemera on and maybe an image on. All right, I created some yummy cards. Bring in my distress ink, grunge up the edges a little bit. Since I've got all these yummy cards, I am going to sew them on by hand. All right, I have a needle with a very large eye, threading a loop through there. So I have 4 strands of the thread. All right, I've monkeyed around with it somewhat. What seems to be easiest is to bring the awl in, poke a hole where the hole is in the card, and then poke a hole outside of the card. Bring your needle in with your 4 strands, go through one of those holes, and come back through one of those holes. And tie a knot in place. Bring in my Timber Brown stazon ink. on the edge of the page. And it looks like we have 6 more images that we can do on this side. So go create, go play, go have fun.